from the podcast, Grant's Rants Hollywood Talk. It's Grant's Rants Small Talk. Real Housewives of New York City Rundown.
Let the ranting begin. I am joined by David Yontef from Behind the Velvet Rope, the podcast. Welcome to the Rants.
How are you doing?
I'm good, David. You know, one day at a time. What's going on with you?
I mean, that's all we can ask for, right? We're in quarantine, so I think I'm taking it 1 hour at a time these days.
Yeah. Well, I know you've been also busy putting out a lot of content, and we need that, so that's a good thing.
I've gone to 3 shows a week. It's like a blue light special. So I'm usually 2 shows a week every Monday and Wednesday. For April, I've gone to 3 shows.
Oh my God.
I know, that's what someone else said. They're like, how? I'm like, you know, it's like I was getting all these DMs of people that were like, can you increase your shows? And I'm like, I'm home. I have the time. And I think we'll probably continue it for May too. So it's every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for now.
Good for
you.
It's
like a blue light special.
Yeah.
You know? Grab
them. That's a good thing. I'm doing 2 now with this recap, and you know that plus the regular day jobs that I am podcast out. But
it's a lot.
It is. Let's get started with this recap though, because I'm dying to get into it. It's season 12, episode 3. Don't mention it. We're back in the Hamptons. We learn immediately that Lou is at the chiropractor. She's very unhappy with the sleeping conditions. She cracked her neck. She has a headache, allegedly. She's MIA, and then she did not attend this winery setup that they had. Do you agree with Leah that she sat this one out because it had alcohol involved, or was she just pissed?
I think she sat it out because it had alcohol involved. That's my gut. That's my honest gut. Yeah. What do you think?
I think it might be both. I think she's looking for an excuse not to be bothered at all. I think she just wants to be home. I don't think she cares about this, especially to be seen with the ladies.
I mean, I think by this season, like to me, if it was my job and I was getting the same amount of money, whether I was there or not, I'd be like, have some fun. I'm going to skip this scene.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
Because, like, yeah, what's she going to do? Not drink and just sit there with, another glass of water? But she was missed at that lunch or whatever they were doing. It's wine tasting? I don't even know.
Like, bearing their souls. But, I mean, I don't blame her. Like, that basement, I mean, didn't seem so great to me either.
I have some thoughts on the basement. I think I'll wait on those. But
okay.
Yeah, I mean, we'll talk about it. It's a real East Coast basement. To me, that reminds me of a lot of Finnish basements that I've seen growing up. I don't know if it was as bad as she said it was or it was as great as Ramona thinks it is. But we'll get there. The drinks arrive and Dorinda is yelling, drinks. I'm like, oh God, girl. Like, you do realize that you look like an alcoholic on this show. And I hate to say that because I like her, but the last thing she needs is to celebrate drinking more. The last thing any of them need.
See, I think this is why New York is like just in a class in and of itself. It's like, it is definitely, which is par for the course. I mean, I'm from New York City. Like, we're just drinkers here. But I think that's what elevates this show and just makes these women like just off their rocker. It's that they all get like literally faced on camera.
They really all do. Like, even the ones that have been on forever, they don't realize like the game, you know, that they want you, the producers want you to drink, and none of them abstain from that.
None of them. There's not one in the crowd of these women that doesn't drink. So like Dorinda drinks a ton, like Sonia. So I've been out with Sonia at night. So like now that I've done that, like on the show, and I see, like, I can tell when Sonia goes into her mode. She was so faced at that lunch. Like, and she's also slurring her words afterwards in that car. But I don't know. To me, it's like drink up.
So she never disappoints, and I've watched old episodes of New York, and she is this. I know exactly what you mean when you say the mode, because she like gets in this headspace and it's messy. And as an adult, it's kind of an ugly thing, I think. And I kind of feel bad for adults when they get that blackout and that messy. But again, on the other side, we are watching a reality TV show, so have at it.
It's so good. But like, yeah, I agree with you. It's a little bit like cringeworthy. I mean, you love it, but you kind of do cringe a little bit inside, right?
A little bit. Yeah. Ramona now. Go ahead.
Oh, well, I mean, I was going to say, and like, I mean, Jesus Christ, like Luann, I don't know how you do it. Like, I mean, I know she's mentioned this, but how do you be around these women when you're that sober? I don't know. I think that is just so hard.
Well, she missed the shuffling of chairs when Ramona was saying, let's all tell vulnerable stories about each other. Well, what could go wrong with that?
Seriously.
I love that. That was, to me, that was totally a producer being like, here's what we're going to do. We're not going to do Rose versus Thorn or Rose Thorn. We're going to do like, what's vulnerable? What's going on? Let's everyone tell something that's a secret. So something got set up, and here we go. Ramona is there saying, that she's out on her own, looking out the window of life. Sonia feels as though that she can't believe that she's so self-realized in this moment.
Yeah, see, I'm like laughing. It's like this is the best comedy on TV.
It is entertaining, isn't it?
Yes.
I mean, at the same time, she's telling this like emotional story about this like lost girl looking for answers, but like the delivery, and clearly she's a success in life. So like whatever, I mean, she's feeling the age that she's in. Is that fair to say?
Ramona, right?
Yeah.
I think she's feeling it. I mean, but yeah, like you said, she's a success. She has this new apartment. She has the $8.5 million Hamptons house.
Ooh.
Which I would have even thought it was more, just based on how it looks on TV. So yeah, I think she's just having a moment. Whose story kind of got to you the most out of all of these women, between like Leah and Sonia and Dorinda? Who affected you the most?
Well, we saw kind of part 2 of a Dorinda breakdown. Last week we saw the other part. Now she said she was scared every day and feeling the pressure. And, I can relate to stuff like that. I can't say I'm scared every day, but I understand about feeling pressure and going out on your own. But Leah learning more about her at the halfway house and the nunnery, and that she admits that she was a really bad kid growing up. I just like to know more. I just like to know more about her. I like her on the show. So I guess that was the one that I found the most interest in hearing.
And that's a good housewife, like someone that, I think she is gold. I think the producers are probably like doing cartwheels somewhere of like, we struck gold with this one.
Right.
Because
right.
I mean, like, who has a story like that? I mean, this is her real life. You're like, what? I mean, and then Ramona is priceless when she's sitting there and just like her eyes are getting bigger. You're just like, she can't even believe it. But I can't believe I'm saying this, because I'm not Team Dorinda for a lot of reasons. But to say that you are scared every day, like, that hits me. I mean, that just to me is so, like, then I felt for her in that very moment, but not the next moment. But for a minute, I did have a moment of compassion for Dorinda, which I don't have usually. Well,
one thing she did say, she said, I have no help. And to me, this goes back to what I've been saying over the last 2 episodes of this rundown, that, she looks at someone like Tinsley, who does have the help both from her mother, the family money, and Scott's money. And, that again is a reflection of her not having any of that and having to go into all of these big decisions and supporting other people with no help whatsoever. She's having to learn late in life what it is to be completely independent. And I think that makes her jealous of Tinsley.
I think so. And then she takes that jealousy and puts it back out in the form of bitterness towards Tinsley and the whole world and her castmates. That's what I feel.
And then there's this business of her watching the Discovery Channel.
Yeah, I was so confused.
The icebergs, and somehow the iceberg is Tinsley. And Bruce, now we had to hear more about him, which doesn't sound like that's going anywhere at all. It sounds like she made up her decision, like, forget it. We only hang out with his friends. I'm not interested. There's too many other people involved. So that to me seems like it already kind of came and went.
Kind of. And you know what the problem is? Like, this happens a lot. Like, it happens on other shows like Keeping Up with the Kardashians all the time. It's like when you break that fourth wall and like, we know how this story ends. So for me, like this season, I love Tinsley, but I find myself not paying attention at all when she's on the screen because A, I know you end up with Scott, and B, I know you leave the show. So I guess
I totally get that.
Yeah, so it's like if I didn't know this, I'd be really interested in who this boyfriend of hers is with the family that she's not happy with. But like, who cares? We're not going to ever hear of him again because you're going to end up with Scott, walk off the show and move to Chicago.
Right. We know how the story ends, so why bother? I don't feel any like empathy or even sympathy about her like wanting to become a stepmother. Like, we know it's not going to happen, so it's like, okay, keep it moving. Yeah, I don't mind Tinsley, but I don't know. I was so expecting so much more from her when she walked onto this show. Remember, she the first scene of her in the streets walking to Sonia's house. Like, I just expected a lot more from her.
Well, did you ever watch High Society on the CW?
I didn't. I dabbled in it just to see like a little bit of her.
It was a classic. So I watched that when it was on the first time around. I knew of Tinsley like before she was on the show, so it was like, because of that, like I've always liked her on the show. I don't know why no one ever really liked her. I guess because they feel like she didn't really bring it. But I actually liked her kind of up until this season, and I still like her. I just find myself not paying attention because I know how it ends.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could see him.
That's just me.
I want to talk about this Trump cocktail party.
Oh my gosh.
Ramona, you are going to catch hell for this.
Yeah.
And it wasn't mentioned until they showed that Page 6 article.
Well, that was the thing. Like, I wasn't really, you know how like when you see something and you don't really know what you're seeing? So she was talking and then the thing flashes on the screen and you see it. And yeah, I had like a delayed reaction. I had the same reaction you did of like, oh my God, Ramona is going to be raked over the coals immediately after this happens.
I think
but
some people...
It like took me a minute.
Yeah. I think some people kind of knew like which housewives were affiliated with Trump and which ones weren't, but it was never really thrown in our face. And this one literally was thrown in our face. The Page 6 article.
I'm shocked that they didn't. Yeah, I mean, because you knew, and we still, there is chatter about like which housewives go one way or another. But I'm shocked that they didn't make it more of a deal on the show, because I think it is going to be a real big deal in real life now, and Ramona's going to get a lot of flack. And I wonder if she's gonna say, hey, this is my choice and this is who I support, or if she's going to try to back down somehow.
The women in general are going to get flack for this. So someone like Leah is going to, I mean, I doubt Leah is pro-Trump just from the little I know about her. I just can't imagine her, really putting up with everything. We'll just leave it at that. And having the patience. But so she's now like, they're all kind of guilty by association. And the word Trump never came out of their mouth. But I mean, it's one thing to go to like, I don't know. They're at a fundraiser. It's just not going to look good for anybody.
I mean, I think Leah might be all alone in her political beliefs, if I had to take a guess.
I think you're right.
Of this cast. I mean, that's just so, yeah.
Maybe Sonia. Maybe Sonia, because she seems to be pretty fluid with stuff. I don't know.
I don't think so. No, I think I was going to say if anyone, maybe Dorinda, but I don't think Sonia, just from what I know in real life and just a lot of things.
Well, that's a shame because she's, she certainly acts a little differently. But I guess when you have all that money, or you had all that money, you're somehow ingratiated into that. I don't know.
I do think it's funny to see Ramona like at the party and try to act like a certain.
The social climbing. I always give a little social climbing update about Ramona and on all these rundowns. To this one, she had to, on the way to the party, she had to say, well, that's the Campbells. They invented the lights and kids' sneakers. And like Dorinda just looked at her like how I do with most people. Like, I am not impressed. Sure. Great.
Of all things to invent, I'm like, it's, I guess, kind of a brilliant idea if it bought you all this. I mean, it is, but like, right, Dorinda's like, what?
I would not have an interest or be impressed. What did you think of Sandcastle?
That's a really good question. What did you think of it?
Well, when I first saw it, I got revenge vibes, and I was waiting for Madeline Stowe to run out in a mini dress. It looked a lot like the house on Revenge. And I'm wondering if it was, because I know they like modeled a home after that. It could be.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it could be. I think they like digitally added on to make it look even bigger than it was. But the house was like 80% there for me design wise. There was some really tacky designs. I didn't care for like the spray paint and like the DJ booth and the random chair Ramona went up like 3 feet off the ground in. Like there was some head scratchers.
I thought that, but like first of all, now that you say this about Revenge, like I think you might be right.
It looked like it to me.
Yeah. I never in a million years would have thought that. But, I mean, it was set in the Hamptons. I mean, I know it was green screens and all, but like, that's interesting. You might be right. I mean, I like the main space, like that main living room. I thought
Mhm.
that was gorgeous. And I do have to admit, I love that mirror that Ramona loved.
15 minutes.
The mirror, yeah, the mirror didn't really go in that room for me though. The way it was designed, it was a little. I don't know what that was. It was a little feminine for me. I thought the room
Really?
was a little bit more neutral.
Huh. I don't know. I think I'm like Ramona. I love, or was it Sonya who said it? I love a big mirror.
I
I
like it
love it.
too. It's the frame that I didn't care for.
I could see that's like a little that's like a little feminine. But I thought that main room, the furniture was nice.
Yeah,
And
it was
then
like 80% of the way there for the most part. The chairs in the kitchen that they sat on, it didn't really go. I don't know.
I like the grounds. I like the driveway,
The
the
lighting,
shrub.
yes.
Yeah, the lighting, the shrubbery was done well. That I liked.
Well, Leah walked in and said she thinks this is a weird white people party.
That was
Which,
a classic.
yeah, I mean, she's not kind of wrong. It was a certain demographic and age brackets.
I love what she called. I love what she was saying about like, I guess you can be like an older man and short and not attractive and then still get someone if you have money. I mean, that was kind of funny.
hmm I mean, the evidence of her argument is laid out right there, live in living color. Um,
Seriously.
what else? So she was introduced as their new enemy as a joke, and I was like, is that a swipe? But it didn't play that way. But kind of odd to introduce someone that way. Don't know if I love that. Sonya's very unimpressed that there's no gin, and she's quickly on her way to blackout. Messy,
and
mess. I'm judging.
and no, and I like love how she was like, this is a 30 house and you don't even have any jitter. That was good.
Yeah, it's classic. Ramona is in party mode, like you said, but she's in some type of neon yellow spaghetti strap dress with some shawl action going on. I don't know about this. She's supposed to be so high and mighty and formal, but she's walking around with her boobs out.
Yeah, it was a strange choice, I thought. They were all dressed like so. I guess I think maybe Dorinda was dressed the most on brand. Sonya was dressed like she was going out for the night. I don't even know where. Leah is like wearing a jean jacket. It's just like, oh, I didn't realize this was like actually like a stuffy crowd. I don't know. I thought Dorinda was maybe on the most on point.
I wouldn't know how to dress for something like that. I mean, I would first, me politically, I would not attend anything like that, and that was not my crowd. But I wouldn't know how to dress for that, especially like in the summer. But they said it was cold because it was the end of summer. I don't know. I don't have any advice for them. Ramona, though, she said that she was bringing herself down with the group. She has to bring
Yes.
herself down around Sonia.
Yes, I mean, and then people want to know why they like get flack after the confessionals. It's like, do you like you've been on this show for how many years? Like,
Right?
you know how this is gonna go. So, like, hello, like Sonya's gonna hear this. But I did think that was kind of funny.
I mean, don't these women know by now? Do you know Joe Farrell? Who is this character? This is his house for those listening. Who
I
is
mean,
this?
here I am telling you, I know all these girls in real life. I have no clue of who Joe Farrell is. I mean, Luann acted like she knew who he was. She's like, we're finally going to get to see the inside of Joe Farrell's house. I have never heard this man's name in my life before.
He sounds like another like Harry Dubin recast where he just kind of floats around between single women in New York.
Right?
I don't know if we need to see him again and just the fake false teeth, but we did. And
I noticed the T too. They were very, very bright.
yeah, which to me like just screams fake to me. It's not even like subtle. What'd you think of him and Ramona? Or he and Ramona flirting in the basement, her basically trying to be held captive in a very, very dark underground spa. Like, what? I would never be caught dead in there.
I mean, I think they're really good for each other. He has a lot of money. She would like that. He seemed to like her. I mean, she came with a whole group. I mean, he didn't. I mean, granted, I know that none of them would have given him the time of day, but like, I don't know. He seemed kind of into her. I think this could be a good choice for her. I didn't think he was that bad. like as far as looks go compared to the way they were describing him.
Right.
He seemed like pretty decent.
Yeah, and he
Like, I
wasn't
mean,
exactly like an elderly man. Like, he's age appropriate.
I was gonna say something too, like when Leah's like an elderly man. I'm right. I'm like, he's not exactly elderly. I think he's probably the same age as Ramona, if not maybe even a tiny bit younger.
Could be.
He could
Yeah.
be like 58 or something.
I
He
don't
had
know.
gray
Yeah.
hair. That was it. I mean, he that was all that it seemed to me. I mean, he then became like a kind of a-hole when he was like, I mean, he was basically like, yeah, the house makes me look better, right, babe? Or I think he said that to like, so I mean, he's kind of like, I'm like, all right, well, now you've ruined it for me.
Yeah. Yeah. No, turn off. Ew. No.
Right.
Dorinda finds touring other people's houses tacky and very American. And I kind of agree. Now, I'm nosy. I don't mind seeing someone's house. You know, I like to see the floor plan and how it's designed. But also, like, you know, traipsing through someone else's house where it's supposed to be like, you know, they're showing it off. You know, they're not hiding anything. I mean, they want you to bowl. They want you to look and marvel at this and that. It is a little tacky.
I personally I love Million Dollar Listing LA. I love Million Dollar Listing New York. I am obsessed with real estate porn, so I am all about touring someone's house. Like, I'm the type that would like to tour it even if you don't want me to tour it. And if you have a $39 million house, I think you want to show it off, to your point. So I think, I mean, I wouldn't have been able to help myself. I would have kind of roamed and made myself at home. I love some good real estate porn.
Mm. I mean, I enjoy it too. I think I enjoy seeing house tours when they're not done right and like ripping into them. I do that on Instagram a lot. I like looking at people and like, really, you put that there and why?
Totally.
You know, but I guess I don't have an opportunity to see any big homes lately because everybody I know lives in an apartment. But let's talk about this Elise. I know you're friendly with her. Elise shows up. She's Ramona's friend on the show. She tells Sonia that she was her husband's accessory, and then we take a trip down memory lane once again with Sonia. But what's your take on Elise?
Well, it's really funny. So I know all of these people in real life. I really do. Elise, I'm very good friends with. So I actually told Elise that I was talking to you today. This is before I watched the show. And she's like, well, what are you talking about? I'm like, I'm talking about tonight's episode. And she's like, you know, tonight's the night that I basically put Sonia in her place. And she's like, you know, you need to say good things about me. But I would say good things about Elise. So here you are. This is breaking the fourth wall again. I was talking to Elise like just literally an hour ago. I mean, the thing is, I really am good friends with Elise, so I will always be team Elise. Always.
Well, that's fair. I mean, you're loyal. That's fine.
I am. I mean, yeah. I mean, I thought it was. I got what she was saying. You know what it is? I feel sorry for Sonia when it comes to references to her old life, because I feel sorry for a lot of these women. I mean, like, you know what I mean? Like, you could feel like Sonia is still living. She's still living there. Like, she still kind of wants to be there.
And even in this episode, we see her at that round table and she's saying, like, I have more money than all of you. Clearly, she doesn't. But it's insecurity, you know, it's a major insecurity for her to be around this lifestyle and these rich older men that she was a part of for a minute and has tried to aspire to be that again forever. Yeah, it's kind of sad. It's like she never.
A little bit.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
And like, I don't know, okay, if you're going to aspire to be that, yeah, you're making your own salary now, so you have to do that. But if you really are aspiring to be that, I think you kind of ruined that by going on a show called The Real Housewives of New York. A million years ago. But this is my thing. I'd like to turn it back around to you because I am such good friends with her, so I have no perspective. I would love to know how the public, I mean, we only just saw a little bit more of her, but like, what did you feel about Elise? Because I really don't know how the public is going to feel. I can't judge because I'm such good friends with her.
I just don't know enough about her. I mean, if you just saw her, I'm interested. I'm glad that Ramona finally got one of her friends on the show. I know that she's been, you know, in and out of these circles for a minute. We'll see with her. It seemed a little forced in that moment as a viewer. But I mean, Sonia, like, water off a duck's back. She she said her piece and then it was over. So we'll see where it goes. Maybe this conversation will be revisited in the future.
Because I know what happens to the whole season. So keep what you just said, because you said all sorts of things, and it's going to be interesting with Elise.
Okay.
But also, but yeah, so we might have to revisit it. But also, to your point, I feel sorry. I think you just made me think of this. Like, I feel sorry anytime Sonia is bullied because she comes from a good place. Like, this reminded me of like Bethany telling her that she has a cheater brand and whatever that wine was called, Tipsy Girl. Yeah, Tipsy Girl. So like, I feel like Sonia does these things, and then when someone gets in her face, I feel like she goes off in the corner and cries, and then I feel sorry for her.
Yeah, it's sad.
I mean, it is.
Yeah.
But I think I feel sorry in ways, not really as sorry, but I feel sad in a way for Dorinda too, because I think Dorinda wants to get back to her past life too.
Well, in these final moments of the podcast, we must cover the next day. Luann, she has left. She wrote a note or an out-of-control text, according to Dorinda. Once again, break out the violins. She is the lowest on the totem pole. She has an incredible home that people drive by and aspire to see. Something along those lines. And so Ramona, God bless her, she gets on the phone, no makeup, she's in bed, she leaves her a voicemail, really apologizes for not supporting her and separating her from the group. And what did you make of this?
I mean, I just think Luann needs to just get a hotel or get her own like, I just think Luann should be done with this room situation. I mean,
why was she ever there? Why did she ever agree to stay?
Well, that's the thing I was thinking, because her house really is close by. It really, truly is. Like, I don't understand. Like, I guess this was a big sleepover. Like, I don't get it. Like, she has her own Hamptons house. So I don't know why she stayed. I really don't. It makes no sense to me.
Final thoughts.
For final thoughts, I have to take a look at let's talk about this basement room, because we see it in the end right before Lou returns the call. We see the bedroom, the TV, the couch. It was very basic to me, but it wasn't a hovel.
No, I mean, first of all, look at how gorgeous Ramona's house is. It's huge. It wasn't a hovel. I don't know why. Listen, I think there would be something positive about staying down there. Like, I think you really did have more privacy, and you're just really sleeping. You're waking up and going to the same kitchen, the same pool, the same everything. I don't understand. Like, you're not buying the damn house. You're just sleeping.
Oh.
It was fine. It was fine. It was just fine. And to that, what's wrong with the fish room at Bluestone Manor? I don't understand it. I understand if, right, you're in the hovel. It's not a hovel.
Right. I mean, it's really too much. She has nothing to complain about. And people are saying online now, like, her complaining about these trivial things is either entertaining for people or really pissing people off, because it's like she's, basically being handed a luxury room when other people now are packed into hospitals. So it doesn't look good either way,
And it's the Hamptons. It's like, right, this is not that bad. She's not happy with the TV or the remote. It's like, you have
the mini fridge.
Yeah, it's like, it's not that bad. There's a whole refrigerator full of everything you want upstairs. Just go upstairs. It's not, you're closer to the main floor than anyone else. I didn't understand it.
Yeah. Well, I enjoyed this episode. Once again, always entertaining, always delivering. Next week looks crazy, like tribal crazy.
Crazy.
We'll have a rundown for that then. In the meantime, I encourage you guys to check out David's podcast, Behind the Velvet Rope, and check that out over there. Thank you, David.
I really appreciate you having me on, and anytime you'd like me to come back, just give me a holler.
Will do. That's great. Thanks again, and good night from the lower level.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
This has been Grant's Rant Small Talk. Real Housewives of New York City Rundown. Want more? Join the full conversation on Grant's Rant Hollywood Talk podcast.